I'll say I'm sure it's going to generate intrigue, right? Like I'm sure a lot more people are finding out about this game and actually seeing like it could be cool, but then they also know that they're going to need to be prepared for a very toxic community. I would honestly just say burn the community. I think start over.
So what do you go ahead.
If you don't have the resources to moderate it properly, like you're making it easy for a lot of people to absorb psychological damage.
Yeah.
And that's where I say like my sense of like just I don't care if I don't have the resources to like do something right. If I'm doing something that's allowing for people to be damaged like emotionally and like to be bullied and victimized online and you don't take a stand against that, like I'm sorry. Like that's low tier human in my opinion.
So I never really experienced too much
No
toxicity.
decency.
More so like people trash talking, right? But never regarding my race because I don't straight up and go in the chat room I'm Asian or anything like that, right? Like
well,
how often do you face, because you say
Sure,
more rampant in RPG, and that's probably the reason why I don't play it as much.
Here's a question for you, right? Like when you make a character in a game where it's like make your own character.
Yeah.
Do you ever pick your race?
Oh, mine?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You do.
I'm the type that makes exactly me.
Okay, cool.
I play me in my games.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so how used to seeing Asian people in video games are you? Right?
Well,
Versus, so I do the same thing. I make a black character, and I'm one of, let's say, 100,000 people that may play the game. Like if it's a non-sports
it's mostly
game,
white
like an RPG,
or
right?
elves
So
or
like,
something,
there's Larry's black character, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all these non-African American players are like calling my character the N-word.
So that happens a lot then.
Oh man, it happens often enough that you obviously take note at a very early age, and then either have to be desensitized to it or figure out whatever strategy works for you with dealing with it to still enjoy the games that you love. But that's an added tax.
And how do we educate? Like, what is this company called from Slovenia?
I already forgot the name.
I already forgot about them. It's probably like a tongue twister.
What was it? Triturnian.
Oh my God, change your name. Triternia, right?
Yeah.
How do we educate Triternia from a company that has dealt with this before? Like Blizzard, or I'm sure those guys have dealt with this before. How do they do it?
Perhaps this is their first time with a product that's big enough that they're seeing a global audience have a response to it.
Yeah.
And so, and again, it might be ignorant because I don't know much about their company other than this product, right? So this is my first introduction to them.
Yeah.
This might be the first time where they are seeing like their breath reach outside of their own demographic. You know what I mean? So like you said, it's new to them, but you still have a responsibility because if you want to stay in the global marketplace, you have to understand that you have a diverse amount of customers. You have a diverse amount of people who all want to enjoy your product.
Yeah.
And if you take the find people on both sides approach to something as clear as day as an issue as black people and females, minorities should not be in this game because I don't like it. It ruins my experience. Yeah. Oh, well, we just made a toggle so those people can be happy, and then the minority people can be happy. Yeah. Now, you're still pissing off the minority people because you're still taking them out of the game. Yeah. Is essentially what's happening. You're letting me play something that doesn't appreciate me being here. Yeah. And you want my money. Yeah. The whitewash button is Hollywood all over again. How many times have we seen?
That's a crazy thing for them to be so far removed from racism, where they think that was a valid solution, and they're like, producers signed it off, founders of the studio signed off.
I'm hoping in
marketing
their
department
favor,
signed off.
I'm hoping in their favor. It really just came down to that feature probably cost them 20 minutes of programmer time, 10 minutes of QA time, and they're like, okay, cool, make it live because now we can please both sides. We're not going to deal with the fighting. We're just gonna please both sides. That's stupid. It's like going into a battlefield where there's people fighting. You know what I mean? Forcing everyone to wear the same uniform. It doesn't change the ideals of the soldier underneath. Yeah. The Nazis still wanted what they were marching for, what they were fighting for. Anybody anti-Nazi still wants what they're marching for, what they're fighting for. The uniform doesn't mean shit.
Well, let's just put. If we were a small developer, let's say it's 5 of us, we have a breakout hit, right? And it's just super toxic. What would be the first step in our shoes?
If I was in their shoes, I mean, you could take some serious stances, and I don't know if this could work, but I think in this day and age, you could probably get away with this, but like, why would you need to see skin on a battlefield like that? If we're talking like knights and King Arthur, Templar, like this kind of fantasy, I mean, I've seen, You know what I mean? Like fully head to toe armor where the slit is just like this. And there's a lot of options to just say, look, do you have the male knight basic body or the female knight basic body? Mm-hmm. You already have a full body armor set. You're only going to get improved pieces of armor. It may move in real life sluggishly slow, but we're making a video game, so we'll make you a little more agile, but you literally don't even see. That would be the fair way to blanket remove the problem, in my opinion. It's like, okay, we just took it out altogether. Are you that character where you can only see the eyes, or are you that character where you can only see the eyes? And even then, it's just dark in there. You can't even. That's a cheap. Well, it's not cheap actually, but that's a solution where you're offending less people, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But I think you would actually have to take the expensive option and say, where do we stand on just the issue that's on the table? Yeah. And regardless of what the cost is, it's going to be better to publicly like, hey, you know what? Sorry. Understand we don't have a lot of resources. We don't have a lot of money, but even still, here's our plan. We're going to remove the feature. Yeah. If people don't want to see women, if people don't want to see minorities, tough luck. If we lose racist and bigoted players, you're improving the community, even if you're not improving your bottom line.
Right.
In the public eye, you'll have a bigger win long term, I think, with that move than to try to appease both parties in the middle of a very violent fight. You know what I mean? To say like, oh, we're going to save tens of thousands today, but you're going to lose millions in the long run.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's read this article a little bit more. So, they considered other options, obviously.
We white people
mainly
can't
due
just
to
have
lack of
anything
resources.
To ourselves, can we?
Yeah.
Is what somebody posted in
exactly. So, but the developer's currently unwilling to take a hard stance against this. In a recent update, they said that they didn't want to add any sort of world filter, partly because people might claim we're censoring it. And there's I can definitely see their wait and see approach, where they're like, let both sides speak freely about their thoughts. But I also admire how Dota underlords just completely take out the chat feature altogether.
Yeah. Your portrait is a silhouette, and you have maybe 8 things that you can say that are pre-written. None of them are derogatory.
Yeah. They're maybe voiceover or like things that you have to be able to just click and send. Yeah.
I think you can say one derogatory thing, and it's about your own account.
Exactly.
Like, this isn't my day, or something like that.
Yeah.
That's the only negative thing you can say.
Too tightly. But they said that their problem extended beyond the game, right? It was in the forums and all that stuff.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, there's a place where people can gather and collect and share ideas, and there's no one there to basically say what can or can't be done. And because there are no constraints, you're seeing the extremes of the use of that system, because there's nothing to prevent it, right?
Yes.
So this now becomes a highway for people who have always been prevented from doing that sort of thing to now publicly be freely able to do it. That's actually why you see such an increase or such a concentration there. Mm-hmm. If I can't be racist at the grocery store, if I can't be racist at the movie theater, well, god dang it, where can I be racist?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, well, here in this game, because...
Yeah. Well, what is that? It seems like our culture, or at least the gaming culture, I don't see this much on the game developer side.
Sure.
But the gaming culture just really leads into this toxicity. Mm-hmm. Like, I think our crowd, and then extend beyond that, the nerd culture, it just breeds this type of behavior. Is it because we're the first to be hiding behind an internet wall?
I think anonymity does a huge favor for this type of thinking.
Yeah.
Because it's unpunishable.
Yeah.
What happens at the most? That person loses their account. They're like 24-hour ban, 2-week ban, perma ban. They'll find another game.
Yeah. Create another character.
Yeah, you can create another account. It's half the time a lot of people will just create new accounts just to like drop as much nonsense, trash, just painful to read, racial stuff on a forum, knowing it's going to get banned because they taste a new Gmail address, they get a new account in like 6 minutes, and they're right back to it.
Yeah. And it's one of the situations where it's not like games breed haters, right? Mm-hmm. It's haters, games attract haters, it seems like, into the playground. And then we're once in a while we see articles like this. And I mean, I have to I'm not siding with the developers. Obviously, I think they were too hands-off about this, and now it's negatively affecting their game, which is what they were worried about in the first place. Out of all this talk, they were worried about losing players.
Yeah.
And so all their thinking was towards...
They're thinking about themselves.
Yeah, about themselves. And now when they're... when asked about their approach about banning players, they even err on the side of caution. We do, of course, act on inappropriate posts or discussions when seen personally. That being said, we don't police our players. You don't do shit. Right? That's pretty much... That whole paragraph was just saying we don't do anything about it.
And it's... Anybody who's like, what about free speech? Or what about, like... I understand somebody's want to say, like, we should be allowed to say and do whatever the hell we want. But that's usually the people who are coming from the bullying position, feeling like they're now being marginalized like the people they're trying to marginalize.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I've rarely seen the argument of, like, man, I keep walking into this room and these people keep just calling me the N-word 50 times a day. I don't know when I've seen that person be the guy who's like, but what about free speech?
Yeah.
They're like, no, what about, creating a safe environment where I can enjoy this product that I just paid for? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's tricky, man. Because, in that clear case of racism, it's very easy to point that out. Mm-hmm. But when it gets to very segmented groups where it feels like the power gets shifted on the other side, where you're not allowed to freely think without even it being offensive, but then that person that group feels offensive. Yeah. It's very tricky. But in this case, this is a clear case. It's like, dude, get some moderators and get on the situation because it's bad for your game.